Deep in the heart of a forgotten forest, hidden away from the prying eyes of modern man, lies an ancient cottage. In the cottage lives an old woman who has lived a long life. And one day she is visited by a young man named Jack. She had been expecting his arrival, and she knew exactly why he had come. You see, Jack was looking for a way to make money. Just when he was about to give up hope, he noticed something strange behind the bookshelf. There, hidden away, was a small keyhole. He inserted the key and opened it, revealing a passageway leading to an underground tunnel. With a mix of excitement and trepidation, he descended into the darkness, unsure of what lay ahead. As he stood there contemplating his decision, the chamber began to tremble. Suddenly, the ground split open, and from the depths rose a fearsome creature, its eyes blazing with malevolent fire. The shackles that had bound him to the cottage for so long suddenly seemed trivial. He returned to the cottage, his steps heavy with purpose. As he approached the door, he could hear the old woman cackling inside, reveling in her immortality. But her laughter would soon turn to screams. With a mighty kick, he burst through the door, his face grim. The old woman, caught off guard, stared at him in disbelief. In that instant, the years of captivity and despair that she had inflicted on him flashed before his eyes. Without hesitation, he raised his scepter and, with a wave of his hand, banished her from the cottage. With a newfound strength coursing through him, Jack confronted the creature once more. With the curse broken and his freedom won, Jack emerged from the rubble, blinking in the sunlight. Please remember to support us if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a great day. He was free, but his adventure was far from over. Now that he possessed the ancient scepter, he knew he had a responsibility to use its power wisely and protect the balance of nature. And so, with the wisdom gained from his trials and the strength of the scepter at his command, Jack set out on a new quest, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. This time, however, there was no need for cunning tactics. With a wave of his scepter, he unleashed bolts of pure energy, driving the monster back. The creature, overwhelmed by the raw power of the scepter, let out a final roar of defiance before collapsing into dust. With a deafening roar, the monster lunged towards Jack, its claws extended and ready to strike. Jack, startled by the sudden attack, stumbled back in alarm. But as the monster closed in, he knew he couldn't run. Summoning a surge of adrenaline, he charged forward, meeting the beast head-on. The clash between them shook the very foundations of the chamber as they grappled in a furious battle. The tunnel was dark and dank, and the air grew heavy with each step. With each blow, Jack fought back, fueled by a desperate hope to break free of the curse that had imprisoned him for so long. As the battle raged, Jack realized that he couldn't defeat the monster with brute force alone. He needed a strategy, a way to outsmart his fearsome opponent. Then, remembering the scepter, an idea struck him. With a well-timed kick, he sent the scepter flying through the air, catching the monster off guard. As it lunged for the scepter, Jack seized his chance. In that moment, the true extent of the scepter's power was revealed. A blinding light erupted from the tip, banishing the shadows and dispelling the darkness that had shrouded the chamber for so long. Just when he thought he couldn't go on, he saw a faint light up ahead. With a surge of adrenaline, he pushed forward, eager to discover what lay in wait. He was desperate for gold, and he believed that the old woman could help him. In the center stood a magnificent throne made of pure gold, and upon it rested a golden scepter adorned with precious gems. But it also carried a heavy burden, for only the pure of heart and mind could wield its power without being consumed by it. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Jack knew he had a choice to make. Would he claim the scepter and risk being corrupted by its power, or would he walk away and let darkness continue to reign? The sight before him was both awe-inspiring and intimidating. It was clear that this place held great power, and Jack knew that whatever he did next would have profound consequences. With a deep breath, he approached the throne cautiously. As he reached out to touch the scepter, a booming voice echoed through the chamber. Startled, Jack whirled around to find the source of the voice, but there was no one there. The voice continued, speaking of an ancient prophecy and a chosen hero who would one day come to claim the scepter and free them from their eternal servitude. The voice boomed through the chamber, rousing echoes of forgotten lore. With bated breath, Jack listened intently, eager to learn more about his destiny. But she warned him that if he did what she asked, it would be at great peril. For what she wanted him to do had to be done in the past, a past so distant that it was almost forgotten. She needed him to travel back 5,000 years to find her a flower that only grew on top of a beanstalk, a flower that had magical properties. If she could get her hands on it, she could become immortal. But she also warned him that he must return before the flower fully bloomed, or else he would be trapped in the past forever. So Jack set off into the woods. He found the beanstalk and began climbing. It was tall and it seemed endless. After what felt like hours, he finally reached the top. As soon as the potion had taken effect, the old woman had used her newfound powers to lock him in the cottage. There was no escape. He paced the floor, desperate to find a way out, but to no avail. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and still Jack's freedom seemed a distant dream. Hope began to fade as the reality of his situation sunk in. He was trapped, and there was no way out. That is until one day when he came across a book hidden in the rafters of the cottage. As he opened it, he found a message written in old-fashioned script. It was a message from a previous owner of the cottage, someone who had also been trapped there by the same old woman. In the message, the previous owner wrote about a secret that could break the curse and free them all. According to the message, the secret lay hidden somewhere in the cottage, waiting to be discovered. With renewed hope, Jack began searching every nook and cranny of the cottage, determined to find the secret and break the curse. There, growing out of a small crack in the clouds, was the flower. It was unlike anything he'd ever seen before. Its petals were made of pure gold, and it shimmered with an otherworldly light. Jack carefully plucked the flower and made his way back down the beanstalk. The old woman was overjoyed when she saw the flower. She quickly brewed a potion and drank it. Suddenly, she was transformed. Her skin became smooth and youthful, her eyes sparkled with newfound energy, and she felt more alive than she had in centuries. With a mischievous grin, she told Jack that now she was immortal, she would keep him around as her companion forever, so he would never be lonely in the cottage in the woods again. But Jack wasn't so thrilled about being stuck with an immortal woman in a cottage in the woods. Still, there was nothing he could do. Days turned into weeks as he tirelessly searched, but still there was no sign of the secret. As he turned the corner, he found himself in a vast chamber. According to the voice, the scepter possessed immense power, capable of granting its wielder unimaginable strength and control over the very forces of nature. After what seemed like an eternity, the voice finally fell silent, leaving Jack in the echoing chamber with the weight of the prophecy heavy on his shoulders. Despite its ferocious appearance, the monster was surprisingly agile, dodging and weaving, its claws raking across Jack's armor. With the scepter firmly in his grasp, Jack felt a surge of power unlike anything he'd ever experienced before. With the monster vanquished and the scepter in his possession, Jack knew it was time to put an end to the old woman's reign. As the old woman disappeared into the ether, the cottage trembled one last time before collapsing in on itself, releasing the spirits that had been trapped within. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.